Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Marvin's Room. Thank you guys so much for joining me once again, wherever you're at in the world. As always, I'm extremely humbled that you guys continue to come back and continue to like my videos and subscribe and all that good stuff. So, to everyone in the world, I appreciate you guys. I love all of you. I wanted to make today's video about something that is very controversial in the law of attraction circles, and there's a huge disagreement amongst coaches in law of attraction, and that is the topic about free will. Do we have free will? I mean, there's a fine line between coaches that believe this and coaches that don't believe this. And to be honest, I am someone who I am on the fence about free will, but I'm more so on the side of we don't have free will the way we would like to have free will. And what I mean by that is, I think there are times when we don't have free will and there's times when we do have free will. And so many people, I know they don't like hearing that because everybody, especially when it comes with SP situations, like when it comes to SP situations, nobody wants to hear that we have free will. But I'm here to tell you that I believe still, personally, that we do have free will. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean you can't get your SP back. But I do believe we have free will, and I'm going to go into detail about it. And I know, like I said, a lot of people don't like hearing that because they think like, oh, I can't get my SP back if they have free will. But that's 100% not the case. And the reason I say that is because there's been too many people in the world that have manifested their SP back without even like really necessarily trying to manifest their SP back, like not doing any techniques, not doing whatever the case may be, and people that don't even know about law of attraction, whatever the case may be, and they're still unconsciously manifesting specific persons or exes or whatever the case may be. So understand that just because we have free will does not mean that you can't get your person back. And it's my job as me being a coach to you guys. I always want to make sure I tell you guys what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Because if I tell you what you want to hear, I'm not doing my job as a human being. I'm not doing my job as a man. I'm not doing my job as a teacher. I'm not doing my job as a coach. And I refuse to be that way. So I'm always going to tell you guys the stuff that might be tough for you guys to hear, and I'm always going to tell you those tough pills that you need to swallow. So now, why do I believe that we do have free will? Here's an example I want you guys to think about. Take in this situation, there's 10 women, and all 10 of these women all desire the same man, and they all equally desire that one man. Who gets the woman? And when I ask people that question, who gets the man? And when I ask people that question, most people can't answer that question. If there's 10 women and they all want the same man equally, they all desire the same man equally, who gets to get the man? People can't answer that question. And that's because it doesn't matter. That's because all 10 of those women can't get that same man. But by law, if we don't have free will, by law, that would mean that all 10 of those women, they all get to get that man. They get to keep that man, right? By universal law, if we don't have free will. But that can't be right. Because that will never happen. All 10 of those women will never experience that man the same way, even if they all equally desire that man. Why? Because that man has free will. Why? Because we all have free will. That man has to choose out of the 10 of those women which one he wants to be with. Same thing vice versa. If there's 10 guys and they all desire the same woman, that woman gets to choose which man she wants to be with. Even if all 10 of those men desire her equally. We have choices. And that's why I wanted to jump in here and kind of give you guys this example, is because so many people think that, nobody has free will in our reality. That may be true to a certain extent. You can control how people show up in your reality and how they respond to you, but I don't necessarily think you can force someone to be in your reality and to force someone to be with you. if that makes sense. Because think about this also, my other example, think about this. How would you feel if you didn't have free will and some random person on the street had control over you enough to force you to be in a relationship with him or her just because you don't have free will? By law, by universal law, you don't have free will. So if this person over here that you don't even like, that you're not even thinking about, by law, that means they can attract you and you could be in a relationship with them. Right? Because you don't have free will. And so that's why when I hear some of these people say these things like, oh, free will doesn't exist, like I don't agree with that. I believe we all 100% have free will, but I believe that we can influence the decisions and certain things that can happen based on our reality. We can influence. We can't necessarily control them 100%, but we can have some sort of influence. We can, have people show up in our experience and our reality a certain way, but we can't necessarily, and like I said, the example I just gave with the 10 men and the 10 women, like who gets them? You know what I'm saying? The example I just gave with yourself, how would you feel if someone forcefully, just because you don't have free will, forced you to like them and be in a relationship? To me, it's kind of impossible. Like it can't work that way. And that's why I think we all have free will. Also, I want to read you guys something from Neville. Neville Goddard said this, and I think the book was The Power of Awareness. And he said something like this. He said, infinite free will in choosing your assumption, but no power to determine conditions and events. You create nothing, but your assumptions determine what portion of creation you will experience. Now, I want you guys to think about that, what Neville just said. This is from Neville. This is not from me. Think about what he just said. Free will in choosing your assumption, but no power to determine conditions and events. So we can assume all we want, right? But we don't know how the universe is going to bring whatever we want to us. We don't know that part. We can assume, but we can't determine the condition or the events. That we really don't know. We don't know how it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it really takes a person on a high level of manifestation, a high level of mastering, to be able to do these supernatural things, because a lot of you guys aren't on that super high level of manifestations. And so it's extremely hard for you to be able to manifest certain things because of so much blockage that you have from your past conditioning. That's why it's way easier a lot of times for children to manifest different things. I just read a story on Reddit actually the other day where a little girl manifested donuts because her mother had taught her about the law of attraction. And the mother went on Reddit and wrote a comment and said, when a family member, I think it was, had showed up to the house recently and brought donuts. And the daughter had said, oh, mommy, I was thinking about donuts. I was thinking and manifesting donuts. And that's how she manifested donuts. And I thought, wow. But the thing is children have no resistance. That's why a lot of times children are way better at manifesting than adults are, because they don't have the blockages yet. They are so carefree. They're so spirit free. But that's why I wanted to jump in here and talk to you guys about free will, because free will, I think we all have free will. And I know that's hard for a lot of you guys to accept and understand because you think you can't get your SP back. But you can still get your SP back. You just have to, make your assumptions and do all of the work and leave it up to the universe on how it's going to come back. Have a deep knowing, have a deep understanding. And when you have that kind of, application to these laws, I think then you can see what results you want. But most people, they don't have those kind of, it takes a very strong-minded person. And most people, they try to will it. They try to force it. And when you force something with your will, a lot of times good things don't happen when you try to force things that way. But when you leave things up to the universe and just naturally trust that things are going to happen and that you're not afraid of free will and you don't have this fear around free will, then I think things happen a lot faster and they happen in the fashion that you want them to have. So I just wanted to jump in here and share that with you guys, my take on free will. And again, to clarify, I do believe we have free will, but in instances, I do think that we can influence the free will of the people that are in our experience, but not necessarily change and control and manipulate them. I don't think we can do stuff that way. And again, this is very controversial because there are law of attraction coaches that I've seen, and they tell us that, oh, no one has free will in your experience. No one. And me personally, I don't necessarily agree with that 100%. I really don't. I believe we all have free will, and to a certain extent, we can influence how people show up in our experience, if that makes sense. Let me know your thoughts below. This is extremely controversial. I want to know you guys' thoughts below on free will. And I can't wait to see you guys next time on the next episode of Marvin's Room. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. You know where, you know when.